Well, good morning. This
Morning.
is Aging Antidote. I'm Marty Gallagher, and I'm here with Dr. Ken Davis, as always. Ken, good morning.
Good morning, Marty.
Well, we are here, and we want to take a quick minute to describe, why this podcast came into being. This is about anti-aging, and both Ken and I are in the anti-aging trenches every day. Ken is a spry 71. I'm 74. I don't think it's braggadocious to say that each of us have attained an extraordinary degree of fitness and function deep into old age. Ken, I came up with this phrase, and just before we came on the air, I think of this as we are quality of life astronauts hurtling through time.
Yeah, I love that.
Fit on a t-shirt.
Yeah, I'm going to put it on my office t-shirt.
Yes, quality of life astronauts hurtling through time. So anyway, the purpose of the podcast is to illustrate methods and strategies that actually work. These are strategies that, well, I came up with you want to retard the physical degradation associated with aging, right? We want to retain function and functionality as we age. And again, you can improve strength and endurance. I mean, most people think that that's a non-starter, that once you get past a certain age, those things are unobtainable, but that's not true. You can improve upon wherever you are at. Ken, did I miss anything?
No, it echoes my sentiments. Absolutely. Especially Marty, you're catching up to me anyway. You're 74, but you're really coming down to 50 like me. So that's what's happening.
All right. So, Ken, tell us a little bit about, what do you consider? What are the attributes? Why are we doing this, right? Why are we going to the time and trouble to exercise, to diet, to do all this stuff? I mean, it's a rhetorical question, but give it to me from your perspective.
Well, again, being a late in life developer of the bodybuilding lifestyle, I've always been an athlete since I was very young and came upon, the bodybuilding lifestyle, as you know, a number of years ago, about 6.5 years now. And I found it with all the things that I've been doing or have done that the element of this lifestyle that involves the three basic components that I believe is the key to anti-aging, which is cardiovascular exercise, weight training, and the awareness and the proper dietary components.
Yep.
And the way in which we eat, and also tied into our to understand what our ancestors and our genetics predispose us to do as well regarding our diet and our eating. And that has been a key ingredient for over these years. I've always been that way, but especially over the last number of years, to be able to look at something that I think that me and you have found the fountain of youth, or the key to the fountain of youth.
Well,
you before me, obviously, but
well, again, the primal lifestyle. What we're doing is we're replacing. I mean, the hard labor of stalking and hunting, and killing with spears, and dragging meat back to camp, and instead we have progressive resistance training, and we have cardiovascular. And again, we're trying to replicate that kind of primal, organic. We call it power eating.
mm-hmm.
We're eating quality proteins and produce and seasonally appropriate foods. Expertly prepared. We love that,
Mm-hmm.
and it all synchronizes. So we get that holistic bodybuilding, which is Ken's phrase, which I think is fantastic. It's this idea of really, it's the old school bodybuilding, pre-steroid bodybuilding, made effective and appropriate for 2024.
Absolutely. So I think I think it's a rock on process that we're doing that can, as you said, I see it can be implemented at no matter at what age that an individual is and have tremendous gains and benefit from it,
Right.
and it just takes the willingness of the individual to look at it and begin the journey. That's what it's about. And this
Well,
is what we're
and,
attempting to do.
and that's assuming that you've got proper protocols, which in this day and age, it's very difficult. This is the age of too much information, right? It's like trying to drink from a fire hose, trying to find
Very,
effective diet and effective training.
very true. I
Very
tell the story, I think I've told you more,
confusing.
years ago back when I first was in practice back in 1977, before that, there was only like one health food store. There were no health food stores back then. And the one health food store that I was had fruit flies flying out of their bin. So,
Mm.
there was nothing, there were no health foods there. There wasn't any of this overload of information, as you say, that's going on today with everybody has an answer in this for that, but I always looked at everything doesn't always have to be so complicated in our ability to do something that enhances our health and our well-being. And I believe that this is what it is.
Well, again, you were interesting case study because this Ken noted he had been a health professional, and Ken was in great shape by anybody's standards up until age 65 or 66, and he discovered bodybuilding and just took off. It was sort of the last piece to the puzzle. Like I said, he was a super healthy guy who was making both of us. We transform humans for a living. That's what we do, and it's real important that we get results for the people that we work with. And I've been doing it for
a long time
since Jesus was a carpenter. It's been a long time in the saddle for me, man.
Hey, still look pretty good though, Marty, to me. I mean, you're not even doing it that long. So,
well, we're 100% natural out here in the woods. We have very little. But again, the triumvirate of resistance training, some form, some type, cardiovascular training, some form, some type, and some sort of disciplined eating, which usually runs counter to whatever you have been doing. Right. The key to progress lies in not doing more of what you have been doing, but finding contrasting methods with whatever it is you have been doing, which obviously is stagnant.
Yeah.
And but the only constant in bodybuilding, or in my world, I call it physical transformation. I'm a strength trainer. It's the only constant is stagnation.
Mm-hmm.
You got to have ways. You got to have a big trick bag. Got to have a lot of modes and methods for overcoming stagnation. If you use one way of lifting, one way of cardio, one way of eating,
right,
you're doomed.
I agree. I've come to learn that.
Yeah.
Well,
Ken, tell them about some of your supplement. Ken has been supplementing people for decades, and he has a very interesting ideas about this. So why don't you, because that supplementation is a minefield. Actually, nutrition is a minefield.
Someone asked me a question. It's interesting you mentioned that, Marty, because someone actually the other day asked me if there were 5 basic products that I would recommend from a supplemental point for a person or a patient. What would I focus on? And the answer, when I think about it, I would focus on primarily, in general, Some type of multi-mineral support and adrenal support, something for gut health and digestion.
Time out. Now, was that, uh, do you like number one? What is number one?
What is number one?
Yep.
A multi-mineral formula.
Okay. Now, is that something that people could get like over the counter, or is that
You
something that
could
makes a
get that.
special order?
You could get that over the counter in general health
Okay.
stores.
Number two.
A support or supplement that supports our fatty acid metabolism. Your omega, that has that covers all of your basic omegas, not just necessarily focused, because a lot of us or most individuals do not know. A lot of people take omega-3s, for example, as a general, but they may need omega-7s. There are products out that have support for all of the omegas within the one product. So I would recommend an omega support,
Well,
which
is this a pill form?
it would be in a capsule form.
Capsule form? I have no idea. Omega. So you
So
go order omega what? What would you order?
Gee, now I'd have to go to the online. This is more of a
Oh, you don't have to give me a specific product, but I mean, what
an
omega-7?
omega support that would support omega-3s, 7s, and 9. Omega-3s, 6s, 9s, and 7s.
And you would need a different pill formulation for each of those?
No, it would have all of it in the one formula.
Okay. And again, what are you looking for? Numbers?
3, 6, 9s, 7s.
Good.
The third thing I would recommend is like a I would recommend a support for the gut.
Such as? What do you do? What do you do for gut support?
I use a product that combines pancreatic enzymes with hydrochloric acid.
Wow. Is that a pill form again?
That would
Or
be
is it a powder? What is that?
Be a pill form.
Oh, so what is that? I mean, that's a mouthful. What is it called? I mean, what is it? How do
you obtain it?
Yeah, I know. In other words, what it's called? Gut health pill? What is
I would call it, well, individuals can go online to there's a company that's part of my, but lay people have access to the product from standard process laboratories.
Okay.
They can go online and order Zypan, Zypan. Now, reason being is that after really puberty, a lot of people become what's called achlorhydric. They lack hydrochloric acid in their gut, which are produced by cells called the chief and parietal cells. So most people so what happens is you begin to eat and digest your food, certain cells in your gut have to secrete HCl to allow you to digest the food and break it down. Then the pancreas,
or else what? Or else what happens?
You're going to create putrefaction and poisoning, which in turn, remember, your gut component also is a direct highway to your brain and an effect on what's called your neurotransmitters. It can affect your serotonin levels and your sleep states, your mind relaxation states. A lot of it comes from the gut. Also, I just want to add to that a lot of gut-related involvement do come a lot or are affected a lot by our emotions. Especially the big thing today in my practice is most people have a state of either over-worry or overthinking. They overthink and they over-worry. And it creates a problem in the gut and also too, Marty, and tied to that in Chinese medicine, the spleen that produces our blood cells, our pancreas that has a twofold job, which is blood sugar regulation and enzyme production, and our gut work as one organ system. And they are very
And
you
as
know,
I'm sure you, Ken, as I'm sure you were about to mention, as Krishnamurti once said, the cessation of thought is the awakening of intelligence.
amen to that.
There you go.
But so as we're digesting our food and HCl is secreted to break it down, the pancreas then gets involved and produces what's called pancreatic enzymes, which consist of certain types to further aid and help the digestive process.
Good.
And a lot of times that process is not occurring, which can create GERD.
Also, Ken, how about nutrient absorption? That's something I really never thought about. And then
Yeah.
you wrote something, and I was reading it, and it was talking about, well, certain types of people might only digest whatever
A certain
15%
percent,
of the protein that
certain
they
percent, yeah,
consume, and I'd never thought about that. I was like,
correct.
and it's so, and it was like rates of absorption. Would this with with this hydrochloric acid, would that help absorption of food?
Yes, yeah, it definitely helps absorb. Now, what may
Okay.
be happening too is that, which is not one of the, but a lot of times the lack of that absorption is also the need for B12 supplementation that it further aids. A lot of people become B12 deficient, and that allows aids absorption as well. So
How do you get the mucus off the gut that that inhibits absorption?
there's certain scrubbing like nutrient products, that work to do that.
That sounds beneficial. Is that also pill form stuff?
There are more of cleanse type of powder products that we
Powder
utilize
products.
that support that process in our clinic, in our practice.
It sounds like something I should have started 25 years ago.
But remember, Marty, as we're talking about in the podcast, there's never too late. A day,
send
month, or year, we can start the process.
send me some powder. All right, now listen, we want to spin back a little bit. Also, I want to get into the nuts and bolts and the holistic bodybuilding thing, because that's critical. And also within the bodybuilding universe, I want to pin you down on some thyroid stuff. I had some
Thyroid.
inquiries about thyroid. So, but first, I kind of want to set the table with the overview on the holistic bodybuilding, which is basically, I would class it as 1970s West Coast bodybuilding, high volume, weight training, cardio. Favorite is the fasted cardio before breakfast cardio.
Yeah.
When if it's a competitive bodybuilder, they'll add a second cardio session if they have an upcoming competition. Diet in the off season, they're looking to add lean mass, and of course the trick there is they want to add as much size as they can in the off season. They want to create a bigger chunk of marble to work with
Yeah.
as they create the sculpture, and then they hone that down in season, but they don't want to get unacceptably fat in the off season.
Yeah. Very true.
You can get you don't want to bulk up on ice cream and beer.
No, definitely
I
not. Beer, ice
want,
cream. I don't even remember those. I don't even know what those words
well,
are.
you're in the minority, my brother. All
I am.
right, so
I,
also the cardio is important. You can't that's critical. But cardio can, for an overweight, out of shape person or a heavy person can generate 80% of age-related heart rate max just with some fast walking,
yeah.
because they're pulling a tractor trailer loaded with 40,000 pounds of steel beam. It takes more calories, more gas to operate a big rig. So you can get surprisingly good cardio benefit You don't have to jog. You don't have to get in
Yeah,
a
no,
bike. You don't have to do any of that. Just get out and walk
look, yeah,
30 minutes or even 10 minutes. Whatever you can start with, you start with that, work your way up. Ken, you were in good cardio shape when you started. I mean, that was probably relatively one of the easier parts for you, wasn't it?
was, it's interesting, Marty, because walking is one of my probably the most favorite thing that I love to do with
Yeah.
you know, and that's really even before that. I always walked, and I utilize walk now, especially that the weather is getting, we're moving into springtime, allows me. I'd rather be out walking miles, so to speak, rather than
Yeah.
being on the treadmill in the gym,
Oh
so.
God. Oh God, yes.
We're
I hate
into
machines.
you know, me too.
But if you're blessed and have that ability, that's ideal.
Plus, look, I was out this
Right.
morning, with my dog. I have a greyhound,
Excuse
as
me.
but I have to keep up with him, you know.
Oh,
So,
that's perfect. That's perfect, right?
he's phenomenal, Plus,
All right. So in addition, the real defining attribute, the real defining discipline, what really makes bodybuilding is nutrition.
yeah,
There is no bodybuilding without nutrition. Bodybuilding without nutrition, that's training, right? That's not bodybuilding.
yes,
The eating is, you know, 80% of the game. And because that determines body composition, and without leanness, there's no bodybuilding. No one wants to see a chubby athlete. It's not, that's of no interest. They want to see a leaned out, muscled up.
muscle cut human being.
Yep, yep, yep.
So that's
And the only way you do that is to engage in a highly disciplined nutritional approach for extended period of time.
yeah.
Ken, why don't you tell them what your current nutritional plan is? I think that would give insight. And again, you're how many weeks out? You're quite a distance out, right?
I'm about 11 weeks out now.
All right. So Ken is in what we call competitive preparation
Food prep.
mode. So what
One of my
how many meals a day?
Well, primarily I've been prescribed 4 meals a day, but I am
Okay.
allowed if I find myself needing to eat more, I
Okay.
can
Well,
supplement.
why don't you give us, I mean, give us the breakfast, lunch, dinner, snack. Give us, what do you eat at each meal?
I got to give you my exact amount.
He weighs his food,
Well,
people.
first of all, in my prep, I'm doing, as Marty mentioned, I'm doing. I get up in the morning at about 5:30. I'm doing an hour of fasted cardio.
What's your percentage you're trying to hit?
You mean where my heart rate? You mean?
Yeah, your intensity level.
I'm doing about my heart rate's at that mode is about 113, 116, but I know,
So you're what at 75 or 80%?
yes.
Okay, an hour. That's a long time, buddy.
Yes,
Whew,
at the time.
damn. All right.
But
So then what?
then I come upstairs and boom, ready for breakfast. Now I have a choice. So in my
Oh,
prep, I'm having a cup of oatmeal
yep.
with a sliced banana, teaspoon of ground cinnamon,
Hmm.
along with 16 ounces of a bottle of water. Now I am allowed 2 packets of some type of like stevia if I want. Added
Okay.
to my, or so I have a choice. I can have a cup of black coffee, 2 slices of Ezekiel bread, and a half a cup of liquid egg whites with one 16-ounce bottle. So it's one or the other. Although
Whoa, time out. A half a cup. I mean, that's. I mean,
half a cup of liquid, yeah, it's not much.
yeah, I spill more than that.
Although I've been at this point in time, and as I get closer, I've been instructed to eat more of the oatmeal component as I'm moving closer to competition day,
Well,
where
lucky
all
you.
the egg whites are going to be taken away anyway, relatively in a few weeks. So
Have you been bad?
no, not at all.
Okay,
Not at
just
all.
checking. All right, so what's
The
the next
only,
meal?
I mean, I have been focusing more on my egg whites than I have my, not that that's been an issue. No, I'm 110%.
What's the next meal? What do you have?
Yeah, in between, I wait about 3 hours from the
Okay,
breakfast meal, and I drink another 16-ounce bottle of water in between my meals.
right.
Meal number two, I can have 8 ounces of grilled chicken breast, white meat only, skinless, about 6 cloves of broccoli or cauliflower, with a cup of cooked brown rice. But I have an option if I want. I can have an avocado as an option apart from my brown rice. So either the brown rice or avocado as an option.
How much brown rice?
About a cup.
Okay, that's a
Cup
good
of
amount.
cooked brown rice.
Okay,
I wait 3 hours. I drink another 16-ounce bottle of water in between the meals. Meal number three, I'm having baked flounder, lightly seasoned.
how much?
Usually about 8 ounces.
Okay,
I have one baked sweet potato or one baked red skin potato, or I have a choice of 1 cup of cooked jasmine rice with 16-ounce bottle of water.
all right.
That's my meal three. My meal four is 8 ounces of steak, spinach. Of course, it would be a.
What type of steak are you getting there, buddy?
I usually get at this point. I have like a fillet. I'll usually have a bison, which is very lean. I buy bison, or I have filet mignon
Okay,
because there's no for the fat component at this point, even though it's a little more expensive. But I figured that my body's worth it. But 8 ounces of steak, spinach or salad, no tomatoes because of the
how
inflammation.
much spinach do you get?
Sometimes I'll use like a whole.
Right, right, because it melts down to
Oh, it
nothing.
melts down. I mean, but it tastes so good.
Oh, I love spinach,
I love it. That and
particularly with a lot of melted butter and some salt.
love it, love it. Or I'll use now. I'll either the spinach or I'll put a whole like spring mix in. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Oh yeah. All right.
Uh,
Then what?
I have an option of lemon, slightly salted, or apple cider vinegar, and I can have some olive oil and 16-ounce bottle of water. That's my prep. And then if
And
I
you're
want,
done. You're done.
I'm
That's it
done.
for the day.
If
Now, no.
but if I want, he has no pro. I could have another protein meal, one or two without, but no carbohydrate after 5 o'clock at night.
What would be a protein meal? What would you have if you
I could
decided
switch
to?
it up. I could have another piece of fish if I wanted to,
Okay.
or I
Right.
could
Got
have
it.
another chicken breast if I wanted.
And what time? That would be in the evening. What time would that be?
You mean my meal number four?
Whatever that optional meal is. What time would that
Oh,
occur?
you mean if I had like a fifth meal?
Yeah. What time would that occur?
Oh God, 8:30 maybe, nine
Yeah. Okay.
o'clock, like that.
Yeah. That's
Because a
cool.
lot of
That's
times
cool.
I get hungry, and but
I'm just saying, but that's great that
yeah,
you
no,
can do that.
yep. And then
Okay, the one thing I noticed is that there's no commercial supplements, no protein powder, no carb
no, I'm not
powder,
allowed to
no
have any. I'm not allowed to have
sports nutrition bars,
no,
no Mega Mass
no.
4000, no nothing.
He will not allow me to. He will not allow me to. Will not allow me to have any type of protein powder or protein bars or anything because there's a lot of crap in it.
Mhm.
And he doesn't like it, so I can't have that. I do use a. I am using a pre-workout powder that goes into water that he wants me to use, um, which I do. From prior to my workout and during my
Does it
workout.
jack you up?
Yeah, I mean, I don't really. I'm not real. I don't really. Even though I've been doing it, I can't say that I absolutely feel it, if you know what I mean. I'm always that way anyway when I'm working out and doing my thing. You know what I'm saying? I don't really need it,
Uh,
but I like the way it tastes,
All right, well there you go.
But so
That's enough.
that's really my
It's
problem.
like a grape fizzy.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. But I must say that, Marty, as you know, I mean, this has been a fairly easy prep for me, this one. Uh,
Well, yeah,
I
coming
like
from where
it.
you
It's
came
not,
from.
yeah, from where I came, which you know.
Yeah, Ken went through one phase where he was eating 8 ounces of whitefish 5 times a day, then one serving of steak. So he was having 42 meals a week at 8 ounces. I did the math. I don't know. It came to like 22 pounds of protein a week.
Yeah, something like that. So it was supposed to be 2 weeks of the fish, Marty, but as you remember, it went to be about 6 weeks of fish.
Yeah. And again, it was
But,
like,
but I did it.
anyway.
But I did
Yeah.
it. I
Yeah,
did it.
you did it, but it gave you a frame of reference. So everything after it has seemed like a walk in the park by comparison.
Well, it took me a number of weeks after the competition to look at fish in the, but I, to look at any white
Uh,
fish in the counter, if you know what I mean. So, but it was,
well, my
you know,
my my father served in World War II, and he said he would never do a recreational trip in a tent, nor would he eat chicken ever again.
oh,
He'd burn out on that. No more chicken and no more sleeping in the
I,
tent for
I
him.
hear
He
you.
was over that.
I
So
hear
Ken, let me spin back around to the big check squares because we're actually, believe it or not, time flies when you're having fun,
Yeah.
as my grandmother used to say. Uh, I think the takeaway for the listeners is that uh, we have strategy, and my strategy is uniquely different than Ken's strategy. I engage in resistance training. I engage in cardio. I have an approach to nutrition, and I also have a mental approach. But the contents of my 4 disciplines are polar opposite of his. Yet his are effective, mine are effective. It's like many roads lead to what transformational Rome can, you
Yeah.
know, many different ways to achieve the goals. So
Oh,
that's good news, right? Because it means
yes.
that there are many different effective methods and modes out there, which will suit different types of personalities.
Yeah.
There's a certain type of personality that when they have a natural affinity toward the approach that we use, and there's another type of personality that has a natural affinity toward the classic, again, that the 70s West Coast, Southern California bodybuilder approach,
Hmm.
which created physiques that, in a lot of ways have not been equal to this day. So, uh, Ken, I think that also I wanted to make time because I wanted to quiz you a little bit on this sort of hidden kind of end our inaugural podcast here.
Podcast. Yeah.
A little, I wanted you to talk a little bit about the thyroid, and this is something that and I'm talking about from a bodybuilder, a holistic bodybuilder approach, and that is not holistic bodybuilding is really competitive bodybuilding that's been detuned. The the extremities, the rough edges have been rounded off to make it user friendly for normal people, people that are not going to compete, that are not seeking 5% body fat percentiles.
Right.
They seek improvement on whatever hole they find themselves standing in, which we can give them. That's easy.
Right.
But again, they have to use better a little bit of each of we. And actually, there are 4 disciplines. There's the cardio, the resistance training, the nutrition, and there's the psychological aspect, which in my world we call brain training.
Yeah.
And again, it's the whole whether it's the psych motivation of the individual workout, whether it's the adherence motivation to stick with the program, whether it's the cost benefit
Yes.
analysis that you have to continually weigh, and how do we elicit results, and results generate enthusiasm. Enthusiasm powers the process, not willpower.
Hmm.
Willpower is finite. You can only clench your fist for so long, right? At some point,
Right. That's right.
enthusiasm, it takes over, and enthusiasm is born of results. No results, no enthusiasm, and we quit, right?
Yeah,
It's the classic New Year's resolver, right, Ken? I
yeah,
mean, they're
that
blasted out of cannons for the first 3 weeks, but then, and who blames them? After 6 weeks, they're perfect and nothing happens. It's like, I quit. And
I
it's like,
quit.
well, I'd quit too. Doing everything I'm supposed to do, exactly the way I'm supposed to do it. And again, it's another situation where the people that are promoting the results are over promising and under delivering,
Delivering. That's correct.
right? In our world, we under promise and over deliver.
Deliver.
Big difference. Okay. And again, our results they work on individuals of advanced stages. That's pretty diplomatic, isn't it, Ken?
I think so. Yeah, I just want to say a little story. The first time, as you remember, when I was training with my first trainer, Kathy Parakis,
Right, right.
never forget the day. I mean, here I am, I'm training. I had 7 months until I was going to be on stage, and I'm working, and I see change in my body, and it's unbelievable. And I remember one day she had me take off my shirt, and I forget what we were doing, and all of a sudden I looked, and I see this six-pack that
Right,
had formed and developed, like, and
right,
I said, I hadn't seen, so to speak, not that I wasn't in good shape, but not like that from when I was like in high school.
right.
It was amazing. It was
And what did that do for your enthusiasm for the
it was
process?
like, let's keep going here.
Oh, you
Oh, it
quadrupled
had me
your
back.
effort. You were turbocharged from that
Oh,
point
absolutely.
forward.
It
Yeah.
was
But
it was
that's what we expect. We
exactly.
expect for our earnest, disciplined efforts results.
Absolutely.
But that's dependent on getting a result producing program.
Correct.
We can give them that. If they can supply the discipline, right? If they have you've got to have the situation too. Wanting it is not enough, unfortunately. I wish it was. But you have to have the ability to institute some sort of resistance training program. You have to make time for some sort of cardio. You could be right in your apartment. It could be done in one room.
Yeah,
And you have to revamp the way you're eating, because whatever way you're eating is not working. That's what we know.
that's
It's
correct.
not working. You wouldn't be coming to us if it was. If it was working, you wouldn't be.
Why you wouldn't be coming.
Yeah, and
Uh,
so that's no problem. We can show you how. And again, it's just you got to clean it up. And then the mental part, you have to change your body. You have to first change your mind.
You have to be willing to, as we've been talking about, to stay with it, to
Yeah,
not give up. That's why I always, I use when I was, my football analogy, I was a quarter, like I'm going to I always see the end zone. Always look at the end zone, even though I'm going to get blocked, tackled, knocked down, but I always keep the end zone in mind, and I know I'm going to get there, and that there's results there. And you'll get results along the way. That's the most difficult thing for my patients, I find, as we were just saying. They give up too fast. Like they want the you can't, it took your body a long time to get that way. You have to be patient too, which is something that a lot of people need. They need to be patient.
well, also, Ken, I think that this is important. If 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 I'm first of all, I won't work with anyone unless they are fired up.
Yeah.
If they have the situation and if they have the enthusiasm, I will work with them. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because I know this, if they do, like, for example, if they clean up their diet, Ken, you and I both know within 14 days, if they don't do anything else but just clean up the eating,
Yeah.
the detoxification process is going to start taking place, right? They're going to feel better,
Absolutely.
right?
Yeah.
So now we got that. Now, let's just do a little cardio. Now we're going to flush that stagnant bloodstream that's just been sitting around watching TV and going to the refrigerator, right?
Yeah.
Now we get that moving around.
Yeah.
Okay, now we got that. Plus, we've got the cleaned up eating and the detox. Now we throw in a little bit of strength training, just a little bit, because you and I both know that strength comes up the quickest. If it's expertly applied and if you know what you're doing, it is so easy to get out of shape people stronger. They improve every week. I have out of shape people that have improved every week with me, Ken, for 5 years.
It's miraculous,
Right?
Marty. It's miraculous.
Yeah, and again, we're so incremental, we're so systematic, we're so periodized, right? We periodize the nutrition, we periodize the cardio, we periodize the lifting, we have periodized lives, right? But it works, it all fits together, and that's why we call it that's why Ken calls it holistic bodybuilding,
Yeah.
right?
It's amazing. It really is.
Yeah, but you have to have the interplay of all four elements. It's not any one or two. You've got to have them all. A little better, a little bit of each than a whole lot of any one or two.
That's correct.
Now, please, before we run out of time, can you talk to us a little bit about I guess start with the fact that the thyroid is like so underreported, and how does a thyroid that's revamped and revitalized improve physique and performance for a serious bodybuilder?
Well, first of all, as a physician clinician, the thyroid has been my baby for years since I first started practice. And it's certainly not only a misdiagnosed uh, element of our body, also the testing modes that are utilized, although it's getting better with functional medicine practitioner, but from a medical standpoint, evaluating just a thyroid stimulating hormone, which I see many times is not the sole diagnostic blood test. So the general practitioners are not implementing and evaluating our thyroid, utilizing the other tests that are imperative to evaluate.
Ken, what's the downside to having a malfunctioning thyroid?
You're going to, first of all, it's going to affect your emotions because these are when we have underactive thyroids, many individuals become depressed. They can cry at the drop of a hat, can precipitate hair loss, cardiovascular involvement is a very common element, the effect of our blood system and our red blood. So thyroid dysfunction or underactivity has an effect on the long bones on the body. So many people that have underactive thyroid, which is a common occurrence, have cold hands and feet year round. Um, they it affects also gut digestive health, which we were talking about, and gut absorption. People tend to put weight on in their midsection, lower part of their body.
Okay. How about overactive?
Overactivity is going to create in many people from an emotional mind perspective, an overactivity of ADD, ADHD. They're more hypersensitive. They are unable to gain weight no matter how much
Insomnia,
insomnia, how much caloric intake they're having.
right?
Um, and remember, people that have a lot of autoimmune related thyroid involvement, where you check the antibodies or whatever, are developing, Graves' disease and other thyroid autoimmune components. But the big factor, Marty, is it's not looked at deep enough. Also, uh, a big pandemic relating to thyroid dysfunction is the majority of the world is iodine deficient.
Okay.
I'm not talking about, people think that by taking, or eating iodized salt is creating the iodine deficiency problem that's encountered in so many people. And iodine is first of all, is produced and manufactured in every tissue of our body, but the uptake of it into the receptors of our cells may be another issue.
Okay.
Also, many
So, all right. Well, let me just. I want to pin this down a little bit because you're spreading a lot of good information here. So, how do you how do you determine if you're overactive or underactive, or if your thyroid is healthy?
Well, one of the best ways is to have a proper, be tested appropriately with the
Okay.
proper, indicators that should be ordered in a blood
You
test.
mean a blood test? Okay.
In a
Now
blood test.
you have some specific ideas about thyroid blood tests, right?
Yes, absolutely.
Why don't you share those with us?
Um, Actually, let me give this first, Marty,
Sure.
which is even an easier way that people can do even without a blood test.
All right.
In general, for many years, actually, which works, if you take an old mercury thermometer, the old, if you remember, and you place it, even the electrical ones that are hooked up, you know what I mean now today, they'll work as well. The general, if you uh, have that by your bed prior to when you wake up in the morning, without, it's okay if you wake up to have to use the bathroom, but prior to getting out of bed in the morning, take the thermometer, whatever one you can use, and put it under one of your axillary or your armpit. And stay in bed, don't move for about 10 minutes, and record your underarm temperature every day for, let's say, 5 to 7 days. Your normal thyroid temperature should be 97.8 to 98.2. Say it again.
Does that vary for people to people? I mean, is that the same like for a 300-pound man and a 100-pound woman?
Yeah, so it would still be meaning that they're gonna have a test. They're gonna have a result. So the point
But
is,
normal is normal regardless of size.
yes, correct.
Okay,
Should be
good.
that range, 97.8 to 98.2. Now,
Okay.
if many people, if that test result is coming in below that lower 97.8, that is a great indicator of underactive thyroid function.
So what do
Underactive,
you do?
well, you mean how do you how do you fix it?
Yeah, what's the solution?
There are uh, specific. Well, first of all, there's certain testing modes. Also, you see, people can go deeper into their testing by doing what's called there's certain labs out there that do what's called iodine load testing. But first of all, even just to stay in the diagnostics for a minute, I have a lot of patients go out and get my mind just, this you the where they take iodine and they put it on their which we used to, what's it called? You could take an iodine solution from the pharmacy
Yep.
and and put a little swab of it on your forearm and the inside of your arm before you go to bed at night.
Yeah.
Now,
I'm laughing because Stacy does that, my wife.
But the thing is, it's a highly, highly diagnostic indicator.
Yeah.
And there should be, if you don't see any of that left on your arm when you wake up in the morning, you have an iodine deficiency need. The body is absorbing and utilizing it so fast.
So how do we fix that?
There are support components or nutrients that you can utilize from. Again, I'm not as familiar with the lay component over the counter. I'm more familiar
But
with
these are supplements, not food. It's
you
not
need
like, oh, you
no,
eat
food
more
is not
spinach or
no, it's not going to fix the problem.
right, right,
The
right.
thing is, taking iodine alone to fix it is not the total
Right.
answer. You have to take iodine, and you have to take iodine and iodide, which is in a supplement, so there's a conversion factor that the body can utilize.
All
And
right.
there are professional line products that we use in our practice, and that we recommend to people that contain both of those components for the body's absorption. And
Ken, how do you keep your thyroid in balance? How do you keep yours in shape? I mean, supplementally, I mean, we know you're eating. Is there any conflict between bodybuilding nutrition and perfect thyroid health, or do you have to supplement, or how's that work?
Uh, based upon my test results, I don't have a particular thyroid issue, so I'm not generally taking a particular support
Okay.
for my thyroid health. But if there is, first of all, there are raw protomorphogen, which are gland extracts that can be taken to build the gland back, as well as other support factors that have other thyroid support uh, uh, products, and also homeopathic tinctures called liquescents, thyroid liquescents, and other homeopathic products that can facilitate improving thyroid health.
Okay.
But you know, but some of those are more evaluated through certain assessment tools that we utilize with elements of, applied kinesiology, muscle testing, reflex work, and other things that we utilize in our practice. But a general, um, there are many now over-the-counter thyroid generalized support factors that one can go into a health food store, or that contain, gland extracts, vitamin mineral support to support the function of the gland. But also, I will mention, Marty, a book that people that are interested in thyroid health could get. And there was a gentleman, his name was Broda Barnes, and he wrote a whole book years ago on the thyroid. Broda Barnes, Barnes, is a great book on thyroid health. Also, a medical physician, holistically based, um, uh, called Michael Brownstein, Brownstein. If people tune into his website, Brownstein, I believe he's in Ohio. He has a tremendous amount of great information on thyroid health. I've seen him lecture before. Um,
Also, I think, Ken, and I think we're going to have to kind of, uh, as interesting as it is, I think we're going to kind of have to hold it here. But between optimizing the thyroid now, if you're under this, does this increase your basal metabolic rate?
you're going to have,
If
if you're underactive, you're going to have you're going to have a slow metabolism. You're not
correct,
going to
so
be
by
able to
getting
break
it
down
by
fat in the
by
same
uh,
way.
by correcting that, you're going to turn up your thermostat, your
Exactly.
metabolic
That
thermostat.
is correct. That
Okay,
is,
that's very cool. And so then you'll be able to consume more quality nutrients, and if you were to do that in conjunction with the gut health thing, right?
You're gonna, yes, you're gonna,
This would be a real kind of turbocharge the bodybuilding effort.
yeah, and even by your cardio and increasing your heart rate and getting the body to burn, your that too will improve thyroid health as well, metabolism.
So so you put it all together, and again, the results come quick if once you institute this type of a program, you have to nail down all the aspects. They have to be executed as intended. No bobbles, no mulligans, no false starts, no falling off the wagon.
No,
And if you do that within 2 weeks, you're going to feel better. And within 3 to 4 weeks, your physique is going to start morphing.
gonna change. You're gonna say like, "That's it. I'm like, is that really me?"
Yeah. Yeah, because the nutrition and the cardio are the key to body composition and to reducing stored body fat.
Yes.
Okay. And the resistance training is the key to strength and function. So put them together, and it's just you're renovating the physique in every possible way. And again, once you see results, that's what reinvigorates the process. Then it becomes effortless. Then it becomes like, oh yeah, I'm into this. Give me more of this.
I can't wait to get up and go do it.
Yeah, well, because you're bouncing awake,
Yeah,
right?
that's what
You're
happened. That's what
you're
happened.
leaping out of bed, right? So anyway, we can go on forever.
It's
All
amazing.
right, well, good. I think it's a good initial launch. And Ken, I appreciate you taking the time.
Appreciate having me and doing this
No,
together. It's great. Really
all
great.
right, I think that's
Worth
good.
the
We'll go
book.
ahead and sign it off.
Okay. We're good
All
to go.
right, sir. Thank you.
Okay, Marty. Thanks.